The Game Awards were just here and they're gone. And we had a lot of expectations for some of the categories that won their respective awards. And some of the announcements were pretty hype. What do you think, Kevin?
You know what? I actually thought this year's Game Awards were pretty good, and I think this was the first one back after the pandemic where everybody was back into the to the theater, and they were able to do stuff on stage and things of that nature. So I thought that it was really good, and you really got to give a lot of credit, a lot of props to Geoff Keighley, because if I remember correctly, whenever he started the Game Awards. What was it? I think they said next year will be 10 years.
I believe
So
so.
yeah,
It was on 2014, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, and he was the one that really drove it, and from my understanding, was the one that kind of got everything set up. With his own money, basically, and now it's turned into a pretty damn big event. You got to give the guy a lot of credit for that, because it takes a lot of balls, it takes a lot of courage to put something like that together. Obviously, he's been in the industry for quite a long time and has a lot of connections, but still, you're talking about a lot of money, I'm sure, to get something set up like that. Obviously, now I'm sure it's not all his own money because of how big it's gotten. But yeah, that aside, again, I thought he did a very good job.
I don't know how popular the event itself is, but I would dare to say that they're shy away, if not, I guess at this point in time, maybe got a bigger audience as far as viewers, not only digitally, but people that are actually tuning in are expecting what comes out of the Game Award.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think they have a pretty big audience right nowadays, because you also want to look at all the different world premieres that they had that usually are reserved for events like E3, Tokyo Game Show. There's another one off the top of my head I can't think of. A lot of times these companies don't want to have any world premieres during events that maybe aren't going to be as notable as some of these other events. So there were some pretty big announcements, from a premiere standpoint last night. So yeah, I definitely think the audience has gotten a lot bigger. Streaming has helped as well.
Yeah, a lot of people are streaming games, so definitely I guess that helps. And I don't know where to call it that we're in a bit of a, I mean, I don't know where to call it a renaissance of gaming, or at least we're at the point that, yeah, we get a lot of noise of things that maybe are not to expectations, but also we get a lot of major titles and innovation going on as far as gaming goes, with all the technology as far as mocap, capturing actual people doing the voices and interpretation of the characters, new technologies, new ideas, and it keeps innovating and also keeping the charm with some of the games you grew up with, but giving it a twist. I don't know. I guess it's a pretty good time to be a gamer, if you ask me.
Oh, I definitely agree. And it's funny because you even listened to what Christopher Judge said during his speech last night when he won one of the awards. In the beginning, when if he knew that he was reading for a video game, he might not have done it. Now it's changed to the fact that a lot of big actors, and whatnot, are gravitating towards the video game industry because of all the different aspects, like you mentioned, with motion capture, voice acting, and all the other good stuff. So yeah, it's awesome.
There was a game that they announced that actually had a crime boss, Rocket City, if I'm not mistaken. That one has a whole bunch of star power as far as if they're actually doing the voices. You saw the trailer as far as the announcements. And
Yeah,
I was like, oh, and you got Idris Elba for
they got
Cyberpunk.
Idris Elba for Cyberpunk. Yeah,
I would say they already had Keanu Reeves as well.
exactly.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
oh man, yeah, they got the pulling it. Who knows? Maybe it's the new medium as far as storytelling, because you're just so engaged with the experience when you're playing. Add that to the experience that you got people that do a fantastic job at representing and bringing these characters to life with their voices. Is just out there.
Yeah, I think they're really enjoying it because I think they even made one or two of them even made the comment last night, as far as they're actors, they like to bring the story to the people, and video games gives them another medium that they're able to bring a story to the people because of the way that games are nowadays. are so story driven that they're not just for basically playing for your entertainment purposes. I mean, it is your entertainment purposes, but not just for playing. There's also to be engaged with a full storyline. You're engaged in the characters, you're engaged in the story. You care about what happens to these characters, and to me, it's not really much different than watching a motion picture.
Yeah. And I guess because we were already given a hint at it a few times, let's go maybe over some of the winners, and maybe we can
Yeah.
give our opinions. Obviously, not all of them, but I guess we'll do something similar. Everyone that haven't seen the Game Awards, they went obviously over the nominees, announced the winners. There were some categories that they just didn't go through the standard of making the nominations and they announcing the winner, the person or the representative going and receive the award and giving a little speech or something. There were quite a few that they just glanced over. Like all the ones related to esports, all of those
Yeah.
they just blew past those. Like ain't nobody got time for that kind of a deal.
They did a lot in the beginning, and then they did some towards the middle.
Toward the middle and a bit at the end as well. So
Yeah.
everything esports related, the ones that won like Valorant or for the coach, esports team, the athlete, the events, all of those, they just announced the winner. Oh man, but they had the representative and there were a lot of important people in this event. Like maybe some people might not recognize it if they're not familiar with the particular games or whatnot. But for example, Naoki Yoshida, or they call it Yoshi P for the people that play Final Fantasy 14. He's working on the Final Fantasy 16 release title, and he was there. He's super busy, and he's super.
Yeah.
And he's super. Super.
They said it
engaged
was
with the
his.
community.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Yeah.
no, yeah. He's super engaged with the community, and he taking the time to go there just to make the announcement. He won technically 2 categories, like the best ongoing game as far as best community, and he was there, and they just make the announcement as a passing kind of a deal. I'm like, oh man, there were few that I guess they needed to cut the fluff as far as they mentioned
Yeah.
that they wanted to make this one a bit shorter, even though it was almost 3 hours long.
It was long. It was. I wasn't expecting it to be as long as it was. And to the point with the Final Fantasy, that they said that was the first time he's ever attended a Game Awards. So to your point, he's really busy.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay. So some of the other, for example, Berserk Direction, Elden Ring won that one. The guy was there, but Miyazaki was there, but they just made the announcement. The other was Best VR Game. It was Moss Book 2. In my life, I heard of it, I guess because I'm not engaged with VR at this point in time.
Right.
Best Racing Game, Turismo 7. They just announced that. No award granted.
No. Yep.
Best multiplayer was Splatoon 3. That was cool. I've seen video about it. I haven't played myself.
I enjoyed the first 2 Splatoon games. I haven't picked up 3 yet. I might have to at some point in time. The reason I kind of didn't was 2 just more or less felt more the exact same.
The same.
Yeah, so I wasn't, real super interested in 3. But hey, it beat out, a powerhouse in Call of Duty. So
Yeah, I was gonna say you could say the same about every maybe shooter. It's basically the same, I guess.
you could, yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. You really could.
Obviously, there are tricks here and there, and two that surprised me as well. Not as far we between Kevin and I, we had some predictions, of course, prior to some of these before the Game Awards. I said to Kevin, I think that God of War is gonna win most of its nominations.
Yeah.
But I think Game of the Year is gonna go to Elden Ring.
Yeah, you hit it.
Yeah, because
Right on the head.
God of War won like 5, 6 awards.
Yeah, it was to the point where I was extremely surprised it did not win Game of the Year because it was cleaning up in every other category.
Yeah, and if we were to delve a bit deeper on that point, because I guess that was the most contested point that everyone prior to the awards was talking about. Even if you were seeing, for example, I saw the awards on YouTube, and obviously I was watching it with the chat on. A lot of people on the chat were basically there just for that nomination, I guess, because it's the highest prestige as far as it goes. But while watching the whole event, every time that God of War was either in the same category as Elden Ring or any other category, was I think God of War is gonna win that one. Let me say they did a fantastic job, but I myself find that there were two categories that the God of War won that I believe other games should have maybe taken more forefront as far as consideration at least. Best narrative, yeah, I'll give that to God of War. Like there's no point about it. I guess you haven't finished the game, so I cannot go too much into
Yeah.
details.
What category?
Best narrative.
Prisoners. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, from what I played so far, because for people who don't know, I'm still in the middle of playing Ragnarok. I haven't finished it yet. Yeah, I know. I'm getting there. But yeah. But so far the narrative is excellent. Honestly, the narrative was excellent in Horizon Forbidden West as well.
Oh,
But
that's one that hurts. I guess for the people that are fans of Horizon, they got a ton of nomination, but they didn't win any
nope,
single
I didn't win
game.
anything.
I guess they have a pretty rough competition this year, to be quite honest.
It was tough going up against God of War. It really is. You're looking at two powerhouse PlayStation studios going, head to head. The only other studio that didn't, have a presence this year was Naughty Dog, and they did. I think The Last of Us Part One had one for accessibility settings, but they're another powerhouse studio. So yeah, they were going back and forth, and I think God of War probably appeals a little bit more to people than the Horizon game does.
Yeah, and I say they won also best audio design. There was God of War, the best score and music. I gotta give it. My hair like goes up when I listen to the soundtrack. Like Bear McCreary, he did a fantastic job as far as the soundtrack.
He really did. He really did.
Though the one that I have a bit of a beef with God of War winning that one was innovation and accessibility.
Yeah.
I saw the other nominees and when they announced God of War, I was like, nah, God of War cannot win this one. Like it's a great game, don't get me wrong, but I guess the definition of innovation accessibility, like the game could be great, but I don't see them innovating anything in particular. Correct me if I'm wrong as far as the game formula. It's not something that we haven't seen before.
No, and I don't think that's what they were actually alluding to for that category. I was more under the impression that it was the straight accessibility options that they gave people in the game, as far as the amount of detail that you can go into that game and basically make changes to, basically for somebody that's colorblind, for somebody who has, maybe a disability, and you can just go through and cater the game almost to any way you like. Obviously subtitle size and things of that nature. I'd have to look it up to see all the different accessibility options.
Yeah,
but I think that's what they were going for.
Recognizing software and on hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by even more wider audience.
Yeah, that's I think what they were going for. And The Last of Us Part One did very similar. They had a lot of the accessibility options as well, which is why I was kind of surprised that they didn't win. But yeah, God of War has quite a bit. I can't really speak for. Honestly, I can't really speak for the accessibility options or the other games I haven't played. But even on God of War, I typically don't mess around too much with the accessibility options.
You did play The Quarry, no?
The Quarry, I did play, yes.
But obviously, you didn't delve too much into those settings or whatnot.
No, I usually don't. I usually just kind of like to play the game the way, it was not meant to be played, but the default settings. It's sometimes I'll make change. Like, me, I don't like button tapping. So if I have an option to change from button tapping to hold the button, I'll do that. Subtitles, I usually don't play with subtitles, but if they have options, I'll usually make them yellow instead of white because it doesn't blend in as much with the background. A couple things like that.
Okay.
But for the most part, I don't.
Okay. If that is the case, obviously then I'll definitely give it to God of War. Is that the case? I guess accessibility, I guess they couldn't just call it best accessibility because it was a rather plain innovation and accessibility, I guess. Yeah, because I was like, oh man, like Innovation. I guess the part it was like innovation. Like was innovative
Right.
about it? But yeah, if you put it that way, yeah. Then
Yeah, you could do all kinds of crazy things. Like you'll see clips where like all the enemies are red. For somebody who doesn't, who might have trouble seeing the enemies, or
yeah,
maybe
yeah. That's great then. That's great then.
yeah, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Yep.
Yeah, the other one that God of War won was Best Action Adventure. I guess it was rough because it had competition. Don't get me wrong, but it's really a really good game. Like there's no doubt about it. But then again, he also went again against Horizon. Man,
Yeah.
Horizon I think didn't have any chance this year to win at all.
It's a shame because it's a such a great game. It really is a great game. It's different than God of War, but it's still a great game, and it's a shame that it didn't get any awards. But hey, you know what? It got nominated for quite a few, so that's always a plus.
The ones that and the ones that actually I got a bit of a surprise was Stray. Stray actually won two nominations. No,
Yeah, one best indie
got,
game, right?
got best indie debut indie and best indie game in general.
Yeah.
It's a good game. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, it was great. It was a great game. Uh,
And I would definitely would have given it the best indie game. The one that I personally, obviously this is me personally, that I would have given it to another game, the best debut indie. I would have given it to Vampire Survivors, man.
okay.
I know that it's not your kind of game. It's just like a 8-bit kind of a game that you move around the map and you're collecting power-ups and killing stuff on the screen and making combinations of power-ups and all that. And dude, the game was like $4 when I bought it in pre-release, and
Okay.
the game has gotten so much hype, popularity, and attention that a lot of other not only companies, individual developers are imitating that formula of how successful it's been. And I was like, oh man, that would have been very good. They even announced it for mobile. I was like, okay, mobile, but that's such a good game. Like for if you got 30 minutes to kill, like feel here and there, Vampire Survivors, man.
Nice.
But
Nice.
but I guess that's very personal. And I guess the other ones that were that I was at least looking for best adaptation for me that was rough because the Netflix just had two right there with Arcane and Cyberpunk.
Right.
The other words like the one for Uncharted with Tom Holland. I haven't seen that movie. Ah man, it was like yeah, it kind of it doesn't capture the same essence of the game, I guess, even from the trailers at least.
Right.
The other ones, the Sonic. I guess you got Jim Carrey in there and Idris Elba doing the voice for Knuckles.
Yeah, it's funny because everybody says that it's actually a pretty decent movie, the Sonic the Hedgehog movies. But yeah, those that kind of movie and like even the new Super Mario Brothers movie, it's tough to call them an adaptation because the games are so out there as far as there's no like clear precise storyline that they're really following. I mean there is, but there isn't. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know how many actual video game movies or adaptations they're done successfully. Like you could make an argument maybe for some of the older movies that are animated, but I guess they're in a way within the medium. But making like series or movies about games is really hard, and I really liked what they did on Arcane and Cyberpunk. Like
Right.
for me, it was either of those ones, like Arcane or Cyberpunk, and I'm really glad that Arcane won because I know that you haven't seen it yet. Might not see it any never, but the visuals, dude, they're fantastic. The story is gripping. Like if you like anime, obviously it's not an anime, but if you like anime in general because of the storytelling and the bombastic nature of it, I would say give it a chance to either of those two, especially Cyberpunk, the Studio Trigger. So it's an anime, but
Yeah, and I like Studio Trigger, and I got to get my butt in gear to start watching some more anime because I've been really slacking off on that. So yeah, that's on me.
no, well, it's not something accusatory. But man, if you have the time, you want to watch something, I give it a chance. Those two are very top picks recommendation as far as it goes. So Arcane won best adaptation. I guess we gotta talk about the the best performance. I didn't expect Al Pacino talking about star power.
Oh man, I'll tell you, that was pretty impressive that he was able to pull Al Pacino to get up on the stage for video game awards right off the bat. That was pretty good, and I was surprised, and I like that he was honest in the fact that he doesn't play video games, but he watches his kids and stuff like that play video games. So that's pretty cool. But that was pretty awesome seeing Al Pacino up there on the stage.
And he even made the comment like, I don't play many games at all.
Yeah, at all.
But I do watch my kids play. I guess it was perfect nomination. And if anyone was gonna have like a moment, definitely I think it was Christopher Judge, because they made a jab through the remaining of the whole event. Like, hey, maybe this person doesn't take that long. Hey, maybe this person doesn't take that long. Because Christopher Judge went on the stage, grabbed and he was talking like for 6-7 minutes.
Oh, he talked for a while, and he made the comment himself.
He even made the comment, but he needed. There's something that definitely he needed to say. And I feel that if anyone was gonna have a moment, definitely it was worth it for me.
I agree 100%, and there was absolutely not one person in that entire audience that thought he was thought he was talking for too long, and I would be willing to bet that most everybody would have liked him to even continue to talk longer.
Yeah, the way that he was talking, what he was saying, it felt like a conversation out of his own, of his journey to get there. Like, I believe that he should follow up. You can definitely feel that he has a lot of thoughts and emotions behind the words that he was putting out there.
Big time.
And maybe it was just me, but when I started hearing the music, it's like, that's the cue, that's the cue, that's the cue. You start hearing like the violins, and they were like upping the volume little by little. Okay, yeah, but it's totally worth it. Both the announcer Al Pacino and the winner, and it was
great.
And he himself said like he voted for the what was his name, Sonny. That he voted for him because he was basically carrying the torch as far as the generation coming up and making content as far as the medium goes. And I was looking at him through the moments that they were panning the camera, and I don't know if it was me, but it felt like he was, what would be the emotion? Not angry. It was a weird emotion that he had on his face. I don't know whether he does his normal face, I guess. I have, it's the first time that I see it personally. But I don't know if you got that vibe. It was weird the times that they were panning the camera to him.
You almost got a little bit of a vibe that he was like, man, I think I should have won that and not Christopher Judge. But I don't know. I don't think that's the case, and especially considering it seems like they have a very good relationship. I would be more leaning towards him just really being happy for Christopher Judge for winning, and that maybe that he's not not an easy person to read. Maybe he has a good poker face, for lack of a better term. So yeah, I agree with you as well. With getting a little bit of that vibe, but it wasn't to the point where I was like, man, this guy is not really, what he looks like he's really pissed off that he didn't win the award. No, I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, maybe that was just his face kind of a deal, but
he might have been. You know what? Maybe he was really emotional about Christopher Judge, because you could see Christopher was very emotional on stage.
Yeah.
And he might have been trying to hold that back.
Yeah, could be that. Again, maybe reading too much into it.
Yeah.
I guess as for other categories, before I go into the last ones that I want to discuss, is the best fighting game.
Fighting game. Now, it was kind of a tough year for fighting games. I still don't agree with Sifu being listed as a fighting game, because it's not really a traditional fighting game, whereas the other ones listed are
the NF Duel, the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
King of Fighters. I haven't played a King of Fighter game in years. Like I would say years as far as decades go. I I love 13 was one of my favorite. That was my favorite, probably my favorite King of Fighters game. I really liked 13 a lot, and I just really wasn't too attracted to 14 or 15. So I never did play 15. Hey, maybe that's a game we should check out and see how it plays, because it might be pretty awesome. But DNF Duel I played, I own. It's a really good game, but it's kind of bare bones. I wasn't surprised that didn't win. I haven't played JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I have played Sifu, and I don't really care for the game, but that does not affect my reasoning behind not thinking it should be a fighting game category. My reasoning was because it's not a fighting game. I'm guessing that they needed five, and there was no other traditional fighting game. I don't know.
Then if that's the case, and what we discussed in the previous podcast, then you think that Multiverse shouldn't have one fighting game either?
Yeah, sure. Well, you could throw Smash Brothers into that category as well. No, I don't. I like to say that just as I like to rile people up sometimes, but no, it's still a fighting game. So yeah, I think you could classify it as a party game if you want to, but I don't say that you couldn't classify it as a fighting game. Whereas I don't think Sifu was a fighting game. It's not a fighting game. It's more of an action adventure game.
Yeah, I guess in the category as far as the traditional sense of a fighting game, like two or multiple like tag team fighter,
right?
Like quite literally the tag of fighting game, like two people fighting, whatever. Not
yeah.
For me, it felt more like a action adventure game. If I'm not mistaken, it was in some other categories as far as nominations goes, and I think the game. Yeah. It looks fun. I haven't played it. Maybe
okay.
I'll wait for it to be on special or something.
I bought it on a whim, and I ended up not liking it. You might like it. It's probably more like a Soulsborne game than anything else. Not the fact that.
See, I kind of hate that because people like. Oh, something's hard. It's Soulsborne.
Yeah, and that's why I was hesitant, because it's not in that style as far as the gameplay. It's not roguelike, so but it is difficult. It's kind of punishing, but it does force you to get better at the game. So in that kind of sense, it's similar. And I think it might be one of those games from my standpoint where it just hasn't clicked, and it'll either click or it won't. So maybe if it clicks, I might really enjoy it. If I go back and play it maybe not. But again, I still don't think it's a fighting game. It's almost like, would you consider Devil May Cry a fighting game?
Yeah, it's an action adventure game,
Right, right.
Hack and slash, however you want to be flexible with that nomination.
And if we want to, beat a dead horse a little bit, my qualms, I guess, with Multiverse or Smash Brothers, as far as categorization as a fighting game, doesn't have to do with it. Not your traditional fighting, as far as one-on-one, fighting per se. It's more the controls. Not a traditional fighting game type controls. They're more of a basic, geared. I hate to use button mashing as a term, but they're geared towards, you can mash. You can mash in any game.
That's the thing. But if you mash in those kind of games, you don't get the proper.
No, and you don't. And it's the same as like Street Fighter. If somebody's really good at Street Fighter, they're not going to lose to somebody that's button mashing. And the same would go for Multiverses or Smash Brothers. I understand that. It's just that the controls and the style of the game are just
different.
It's different in my mind. And I've grown to. I never didn't enjoy them, but I've grown to accept them more as a more technical type fighter, the traditional games that I'm used to playing. That being said, we played Multiverses, and for whatever reason we decided to stop playing, and not consciously. It kind of got so for people who don't know, Al and I like to play on usually on the weekends, and we rotate in games and out games, and Multiverses was in our rotation, and for some reason it kind of dropped off, but it was very fun. We enjoyed it.
We can pick it up at any time. It just I guess there are other games that get our attention more often. Mm-hmm. So you talk about different controls and all that. I guess we'll delve a bit into fighting games. I guess we're passionate about it. It's more so the fact that your muscle memory can have, I guess, accustomed to something. And when we were playing Mortal Kombat, for example, I had a lot of trouble because obviously I played very casually like Mortal Kombat in the past, but I'm not used to holding the block button for defending. Like I'm used to holding just back.
Yes.
And there's a lot of muscle memory work put into me being able to, like you just say, like block and punish or block and look for opportunity, a window to be able to do like the exchange on the fighting game, like the dance that you will say. It was so hard for me to kind of get into it, and I can play Mortal Kombat. I enjoy it, but it's just that I feel like a cramping sensation because I'm hitting the block button and I'm hitting back at the same time because my brain works that way.
Oh, I get it, and I don't know why. For some reason, I can pick up Mortal Kombat, and then I block holding the button down without even thinking about it. It's second nature to me. But I was a pretty big Mortal Kombat player when I was younger, and I think that you played it a lot more casually. I think you played more. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I gravitated towards Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, and you gravitated towards Street Fighter and Arc System Works games.
Yep, I played more Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, that I played even Street Fighter and King of Fighters or Mortal Kombat or Tekken. Tekken was like passing. Soul Calibur, I played the hell out of 3 and a bit of 4.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely Mortal Kombat wasn't. I played the Super Nintendo, like the first one and the third one.
Sure.
I still have the cartridge to this day of Mortal Kombat 3, But it wasn't like seriously like me investing time into the game and fighting and getting good, if you could say.
Good, get good, baby.
Yeah. But yeah, Multiversus won the best fighting game.
It was. I think it was a fair assessment. I mean, DNF Duels is a really good game. Honestly, it's just not that deep of a game as far as the content goes. It's pretty bare bones, and I don't really care for the fighting system quite as much as I do on some of Arc System Works' other games. Particularly Grand Blue, I think is a much better game, and it's a shame because I really liked a lot of the characters in DNF Duel. So I might go and pick it back up again at some point in time, because it's definitely a good game. I think Multiversus is going to win regardless because it's going to be played by more people. More people, and it's a free to play game.
The accessibility, yep.
Yeah, it's accessible, and let's be honest, if somebody has a choice, and they're looking at any of those games in that category, DNF, JoJo's, King of Fighters, and then Sifu, and they see, oh wow, I could play as Batman or Bugs Bunny. Yeah, they're using characters that everybody knows. How many people know DNF Duel characters other than people who are big into the source content? And
the source content is it's not a mobile game. It's like a MMO.
No, kind of. It was like an MMO, or something like that. Grand Blue was I think that was the mobile game.
That's the mobile game, and they're actually doing a game next year, if I'm not mistaken. I believe I don't know whether it's MMO, co-op, or like an action adventure. I'm not quite sure. I have to delve a bit deeper into that.
Yeah, exactly. JoJo is a big anime, so people who are familiar with that, but not everybody's into anime. King of Fighters has been around forever. Obviously, it's number 15. But again, if you're into SNK games, the characters don't mean anything to you. But everybody knows Batman, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Scooby, and all this other good stuff. So and free to play, and it's also for better or worse, or it goes back to the whole control standpoint from my thought process on the game. You can pick it up and play it a lot easier than you can pick up and play DNF or Street Fighter. Even though DNF has accessibility as far as like the controls, you don't have to do the full controls. They have the easier type controls. I think Grand Blue as well, but it's still different than it is with Shaggy or whoever throwing pies in people's face, or Bugs Bunny throwing
Shaggy going Super Saiyan. Well, Super Saiyan Ultra Instinct. I guess he skipped the Super Saiyan and went right into Ultra
Instinct. Whatever it is, it's pretty fun though.
And I guess the one that at least I was really excited, but obviously on a personal note, Elden Ring won 4 of its nominations. It won Best Art Direction, won Best RPG, Best Game Direction, and Game of the Year. And I gotta say, I agree with all 4. And the one that I may have a bit of a conflicting note is the art direction.
Okay.
And I love the hell out of Elden Ring. For me, it's almost a perfect game. Obviously, it got its nuances and parts as far as the. I don't want to say it's not the story progression. It's like the actual progression of the game. There are some parts that are a bit like this could have been better, but when you see everything that you've gone through, yeah, I can give it a pass. But I guess I'm being very subjective on that note.
Sure.
But on that category, there was a game called Scorn.
Okay.
And I haven't played it. I only seen gameplay of it. It's very particular to the eyes as far as the experience. Maybe the gameplay might not be all that nut, or maybe the story is kind of a weird, or it's different. But the art style is just very particular and different. That I thought that it was gonna win just by being so out there. Don't get me wrong, I love Elden Ring, but if you see images of Scorn, if you see that the interpretation, you see the creative mind of who came up with the designing these stages and the levels, and it's like, man, this is different. I guess people didn't want different, or I guess it didn't get enough exposure compared to Elden Ring.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great point. Obviously, I haven't played Elden Ring, so I can't really speak too much to the art direction, but I've seen, videos and whatnot of it, and it's a beautiful looking game. And I know they have a lot of different types of monsters and creatures and stuff in there where they're very, detailed and different than your normal traditional type monsters. But this was a tough category because, the art direction in every single one of these games is excellent. This was one when you were just talking, I was thinking to myself, you know what? I think Horizon might have been the actual best pick because of the intricacies of the designs on all the different robots that they have in that game, where they have the robots that are designed off of like dinosaurs and birds and all these regular real animals, and it's pretty amazing. It's gorgeous. It's an absolutely gorgeous game. And then I was thinking about it. I started looking back at Stray, and like, man, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Art design as well. And the animation was excellent, especially if I'm a cat person, right? So I have two cats, and I love the hell out of cats, and it was awesome being able to play as the cat. But then not only that, just looking at the different intricacies that they have with the design of the cat and how realistic it was. It's like, oh, my cat does that, and it was pretty cool. So yeah, it's such a subjective, it's tough. Art design is, to one person might look fantastic, and to somebody else it might look terrible. I'll go back to Street Fighter 4 and say I thought the art design in Street Fighter 4 was terrible, and there's other people that say I love the art.
I love it.
Love it.
I personally like it more than 5, but obviously that's me. That's Street Fighter 4.
And I prefer 5. So yeah, but that's so. But it was. I'm glad. I don't think there was a loser in that category. So
yeah, the God of War as well was in that category, and it was.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful game, and definitely got a lot of inspiration. But Norse mythology. When eventually you play Elden Ring, I guess you'll see some of the things that you almost every place that you can stand. I guess you could make the argument for most games, but every place that you can stand, not only as far as enemies, but the scenery and what you're seeing. You could take a picture. It's like, man, no matter the angle, it's like, man, this is almost picture perfect. And no matter what you see on the map, if you see something on the map, most likely you can get there.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's maybe 95% of the map that I explore, I played like 500 plus hours.
Yeah.
And 95.
You mean like 1,500 plus hours, probably.
No, 500. I haven't seen a place that what's that there? And not being able to get there, maybe not now, but maybe later I'm able to get there. I'm like, the vision is fantastic. So I don't mind it winning. It's just that I thought that maybe they have considered someone new for it. But again, it was a
Right.
fantastic representation as far as that goes. RPG, it was rough. Like I know that that's not a genre that you play that often. Maybe one or two games here and there.
Yeah, I'm not a big RPG guy.
The amount of customization, availability, and everything that you can do in Elden Ring, yeah, that definitely was the RPG of the year. That I guess that was no question about it, and you could make the argument for Xenoblade Chronicles. Yeah, I guess it's a standard JRPG as far as the formula goes, but
Yeah.
and
No,
there was no comparison, to be honest. And I
nothing was beating Elden Ring in that category.
No, and as far as RPGs, I used to play only RPGs back in the day before I started dabbling in other genres, to be quite honest. I guess Forever Alone, playing by myself. No, by myself. But I play quite a few RPGs, and I definitely recognize that was Elden Ring any other day. And best game direction. I'm really glad that he won
Yeah.
by Miyazaki, being thankful for it, because even if they didn't win Game of the Year, that I felt it in my heart that they were gonna win it. Is you seeing the trajectory? I got quite recently into the From Software games. I was from the band that I said it before. I didn't like the games, but it's because I didn't give it a chance to really get invested into them. Like you seeing the effort that they put into the game, the vision, and how everything was put together, and the transition, like everything is available to you. I guess a bit of a spoiler. Everything is available to you from the start of the game. It's just you realizing that you just need to explore, and how they balance everything for you to be able to roam. And if you don't want to go there, then you go the other way, and you will most likely will find something there that will be able to help you later, and so on and so forth. Or if you already know what you're looking for, you can go and do a beeline and get there and do what you want to do. It's quite literally empowering the player to do what you want to do. It's like, okay, yeah, this guy is something else. And obviously him and the team behind him and everyone that contributed to the experience. So
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, everything I've heard about the game, it just calls to me to say that he directed the heck out of the game. You could say the same for Horizon and God of War as well, but they're probably more from a story aspect than anything else. Not to take anything away from them, but I think the direction in Elden Ring, from everything that people have told me about it, is just really good, especially because they've been able to make people who are not From Software fans into From Software fans. They haven't with me yet, but
I'm pushing.
I know, and it might be the only way I can get your ass to get on board with the Last of Us and the Last of Us 2.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
because I know when you were saying there's the details in the Naughty Dog games are amazing. The only other company I think that can come close to the amount of details that they put into their games is Rockstar, but it's insane with some of the stuff with games, especially Last of Us 2. It's the amount of detail that they put into that. But going back to what you were saying with Elden Ring, any spot you stop and take a look around and there's stuff going on or picture perfect and stuff like that. It's very similar. I'll play it eventually. Well,
Yeah.
I'll give it. I will give it a shot eventually. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, I'm the same with The Last of Us. And I guess
They're different. It's so different though.
they're different. I guess the game that everyone was the nomination that they were waiting for was the Game of the Year. Don't remember from last year, but I found it that it was fantastic what they did as far as the medley. I love the medley. They did like a medley of all the nominations while the game was being shown in the background. They were playing like the theme or something akin to the theme of the game that was being nominated.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I haven't played some of the other games, but I felt the chills while they were playing the themes, like aside from God of War and Elden Ring, like for Horizon, they were playing it. Damn, that sounds awesome.
It was really good.
And
it was really good.
And the other ones that they were playing is like, oh man! And when I heard the theme from Elden Ring, I was like, oh yeah, this is it. And the one for God of War is like, yeah, definitely they got it. They got it. And there was one guy on the orchestra that seemed like the fun guy. That I
you
was
see
like,
that guy?
that,
I love that
you know,
guy.
everyone that saw the Game Awards and saw that part and sees that guy is like, that guy is fun. that guy is the spirit of the party, you know?
He was so into it. I mean, he was
Yeah.
into it. And I swear to God, they would pan away for him for like 2 seconds.
He was playing
and
another
then pan
instrument.
back, and he had another instrument.
He was
I'm like,
on an instrument. Yeah. And when they ended, he was like standing up and, yeah,
Oh,
we did
yeah.
it. We did it.
Yeah.
That's the kind of person that you want on your team.
Oh man, I mean, you could tell there was nothing else he would have wanted to do at that moment in time than what he was doing. It was awesome to watch.
No, yeah, definitely. He definitely you see someone like that, he loves what he does. You know,
Oh yeah, he was enjoying every second of it, and that's great. This is awesome.
Yeah, and as far as the winner, I guess, well, we saw Elden Ring taking it home. I know a lot of people through the year were like debating, arguing, like Elden Ring is even a good game, and I know that it's so different to what everything is out there. I myself, like I said before, I wasn't a From Software guy, but what they achieve in this game, they definitely deserve the game of the year. Like not like you just previously said, people that were not attracted to the formula got into it. It sold over 12 million copies, and I guess to this point, I guess it's even more than that.
Sure.
They still keep maintaining the game. They quite recently announced like a new PvP mode. They've been making updates and balances, and it was a suspicion that they were not gonna do DLC, and they winning that award. He made the promise that they are gonna do DLC for the game. I was like, man, I would have been perfectly fine, to be quite honest, if they didn't do DLC. They announcing DLC is like, man, this game is massive, and they announcing DLC, this game is something else. But obviously,
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
well, obviously, this is coming from someone that is, I guess, in the cult. I guess if you want to call it that.
Hey,
From software.
that's all right. That's all right. I'm a Naughty Dog fanboy, so I mean, it's and we'll get into the trailers here shortly, but it was one of those things where I was actually starting to wonder, especially towards the end when they were world premiere and they were like promising, and he mentioned something like he was so happy about this big ass studio, and it was a From Software game, but he was like, this big studio gonna be doing a world premiere on their new game at the Video Games Award, and I'm like, oh, is it Naughty Dog? Because we don't know what Naughty Dog is working on next.
No,
I'm like, yeah, and it wasn't. I was like, oh.
Yeah, as you were thinking that, I was thinking, oh man, this is either gonna be something from Soft, but I didn't know which game. I have Armored Core on the top because there were rumors and leaks of they hiring developers for like something mech base.
Yeah.
It was kind of on your face, but I didn't expect that it was gonna be announced for next year. I played the one or two of the Armored Cores in the past. I don't remember the ones. I don't know if it was for Answer or Armored. I don't know. It was for.
I didn't like it.
I trying to remember. I know it's a From Software game.
I know. I every game I've tried from them, I don't like, and that's why I stopped buying the game.
I get it. I would say if something that is not for you, it's not for you. But it's funny that I played that game and I loved it back in the day when I didn't know. I'm awful with remembering some of the houses and directors and some names. Like I didn't know that it was a From Software game, and I played it and I loved it. I remember playing with some pals that they actually lent me the game to play it. If you're into mechs and you're into customization and all that, it's like your go-to to kind of scratch that itch. At least it was back in the day. Obviously, you got your From missions and maybe one or two Gundam or other games that are also mech-based. But the amount of customization and things that you could do on those games was fantastic. I remember going into these games with my pals, and I had like a mech that was super huge. It got like 2 bazookas or rocket launcher in the shoulder. It had like double Gatling guns, and yeah, I got the best mech, and I started fighting him, and he has like a tiny ass mech that only had like a sword, but you had like PvP on those games, and when we start fighting, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna throw all of my missiles, I'm gonna start shooting, and the match was over like in 3 seconds, and I see my mech, my Armored Core exploding, and I'm like,
Oh.
what happened? And it's like he optimized his dude to be super small and super fast, so he dashed forward so fast because obviously mine is heavy, and he used like a laser sword and just attacked me a gazillion times, and my guy exploded. And I'm like, oh, I see. And I'm really hyped for this one. I haven't kept up with the story of the Armored Cores, but seeing the trailer and what's going on, I'm really looking forward for that game.
That trailer was awesome, and you know what? The trailer for 4, and that was a PlayStation 3 game, that sold me on 4 as well. And because the trailer was awesome, I was like, "Oh man, this looks like it's going to be the best game I've ever played." I got it, and I just could not get into it. I was having trouble with the controls. I couldn't get into it. I just didn't like it. It's a shame. I don't even think I own it anymore. I'm pretty sure I traded it in, so I can't even go back. Can't even go back and try it again. But. So we'll see. Tastes always change. So maybe I'll give it another go.
I guess to go a bit on the wrap it up kind of a deal. Obviously, like Kevin mentioned, there was a lot of announcements on this stage. At least from all the ones that they announced, me personally, the ones that I'm looking for on the top is Armored Core 6 and Hades 2. And Hades is another game that I played this year. I've been into roguelike games for a while, but Hades from Super Giant Games. The first game that I played from them was actually Bastion, and I love Bastion and Transistor. I played both of those, and they're fantastic games as far as it goes of the genre. And they tipping their toes into the roguelikes with Hades. I played the hell. I don't know if I played close to 200 hours or something.
Nice.
It's another game that I discovered, and the formula is fantastic. Like, they announcing the 2, I was watching the trailer. I was like, at first I was Super Giant Games. Oh, well, what we got here? We got something new. But then I saw the shading. I said, no, it cannot be. I see the character fighting in the shadows, and obviously, if you play that long, you start recognizing things. And when I knew that it was a Hades game, when they play the main team, like, oh no, it cannot be. And when they finally show the gal that is fighting, it's like, oh, what's going on here? Obviously, I don't know what's going on. I'm only speculating based on the playtime that I got from the first Hades, but they making us. I think this is the first sequel they actually do, because all the other games they don't, like a game they do maybe some content, not even DLC, like they just add it, and they move on to experiment with something else, and they making a sequel. It tells you that it was super successful as far as the game goes.
Were you excited for? Because I know you're a fan. What was it, Diablo 4?
So I like Diablo. The trailer was hype as hell. Mm-hmm. Especially with the history.
Yeah, it was cool.
I played 2. I played the hell out of 3.
Okay.
Get it, Diablo, hell. So
yeah, you'll be here all week.
I'll be here, people. The thing that really got me on the fence about Diablo is the company behind it, and Activision Blizzard hasn't been the best in the past few years, to be honest, as far as the presentation. Blizzard used to have the seal of approval of they delaying games until they were on a state that was agreeable for everyone. They were not just thinking about the shareholders or the stakeholders, and obviously all the things
they want to put out the best the way they want it,
the best product out there, and
yeah.
The whole view of microtransactions, I don't know where to call it, gamifying the gameplay experience with all the loot boxes or additional stuff, and the release of Diablo Immortal, that even when they were announcing the best mobile game, that Marvel Snap won, I'm actually glad for that one as well. Diablo Immortal, there was, when they announced it, someone on the public was like, boo! And I was laughing my ass off. It's like, man, they deserve it to a certain extent. So I want to play it, but I kind of don't. And I'm very torn on that one. And it's just because not of the presentation or what you can do on the game, is the company behind it.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I'll tell you the one that I was kind of, it's funny. There wasn't a whole lot that I was really excited for.
I'm sorry. And one final one before I forget.
Oh yeah, sure. Go for it.
Baldur's Gate 3, and obviously because I got into D&D quite recently, and seeing they actually making a game for it, because it is on the same engine that they did Divinity. For those that are familiar, that's sort of a top-down asymmetric tactical game, and they making the same formula for D&D with the actual classes and all that. I'm also excited for that one.
Nice. Nice, very cool. Yeah, see, and there was a lot of the games that they were showing that I wasn't too excited over. Most all the trailers look pretty awesome, but a lot of these games are not in my wheelhouse. Diablo's not in my wheelhouse. Baldur's Gate's not in my wheelhouse. Hell, even Death Stranding 2. I didn't play Death Stranding 1, and I love Hideo Kojima, but Death Stranding just looks so odd to me that I don't know. I never gave it a shot. I probably should.
The walking simulator.
That's what it looked like. Yeah, I remember one of my buddies said that because in some of the early trailers that he had like a bunch of packages attached to his bed. He's like, "What is this, delivery simulator?" It's like, so I mean, I don't know. I got to give it a shot because he's pretty crazy. I'll tell you one that might sound odd that I'm kind of excited for, and that's the Star Wars Jedi Survivor game. And
interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting because I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, and I'm not, I mean, I don't get me wrong, I like Star Wars, but I don't get into all the Star Wars stuff, and I don't really get into any of the media except for pretty much the main movies for the most part. And even those, don't go crazy over. I'm not into all the different offshoots. But there's one reason that this game excites me. It's because it's Respawn. I love Respawn. They're a great studio. So they were the original Call of Duty Infinity Ward studio. Vince Zampella was the head, along with one of the other guys. I can't remember his name. I'll think of it after done here, I'm sure. They left Infinity Ward to form their own studio called Respawn, and they're behind Titanfall, and they're also behind Apex Legends. So it's funny because it makes me excited for a couple reasons. One, it's different. They're pretty much in the first person, third person shooter genre for the most part. So this one's a little bit different than what they normally work on, but it does look very good. I'm really curious at how they handle the gameplay because that's one of my favorite parts about Respawn is their gameplay is second to none. And then for selfish reasons, it makes. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, you say the same with Naughty Dog is second to none, but then this other one is second to none as well. Sorry.
No, controls. The controls.
Oh, okay, because I heard you say the same. Anyways,
the controls. I mean, that was one of the things that Call of Duty has always excelled at over every other first-person shooter. It was mainly two things. It was running at 60 frames per second on older gen hardware all the time, and it was the controls. The controls perfect. And the Respawn just knocks the controls out of the park. No, Naughty Dog's I can't. No, Naughty Dog is they're amazing, but I can't say the same. Their controls are not. They vary from game to game. So
gotcha.
But their controls are pretty good though. I don't have a problem with. Some people do, but I don't. The company a AAA developer I do have a problem with their controls is Rockstar. Don't like their control. But the selfish reason I was excited to finally see this game is. Maybe now that they're finishing this game, they can work on Titanfall 3.
Okay.
What I really want. That's what I want. And I know they've been working on this game for a long time. But I will probably give it a shot only because it's Respawn. That crime boss, Rock Hayes City game that you mentioned earlier, had a lot of actors in there. That one looks pretty interesting.
Oh, on our pre conversation.
Yeah, because it looks almost like a Grand Theft Auto shooter type game, so that might be kind of fun. That looked pretty cool. Talked a little bit.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm glad that they made the memorial for Kevin Conroy when they announced the Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. They gave him even the voice and the feels. But Chuck Norris passed away as well, no?
No, Chuck Norris is still alive.
He's alive? Man, why did I think that he was dead?
No, he's still alive.
Why did they kill him?
I think he's kind of a jackass, but he's still alive.
Okay, because I still had in my mind that he had passed away, but apparently no, he's alive. But and Chuck Norris is there, and I was thinking, wait, didn't he pass away as well? I guess it's one of those Mandela effect deals.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was the last trailer I wanted to. Well, I did want to touch on that game that was called Party Animals. That looks so much fun.
I saw that and I thought, yeah, that's definitely a fun game. The only thing that not the only thing, but what stuck to me from the trailer was, they were presenting the stages. Yeah, that stage that Keanu Reeves fight that other dude. And I'm like,
Yeah, in the
man,
subway.
man, okay, I understand, but are you putting Hugo Weaving like that dude? Like we got to this point that everyone knows Keanu Reeves, but no one knows who Hugo Weaving is.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You know,
maybe.
I guess
I don't.
that one got more star power than the other, I guess, but still, like,
I guess I don't know if they. I mean, well, yeah, that is probably true. I don't know if that was meant as a dig on Hugo
no,
Weaving
I know,
or.
I know. I took it as that because I really appreciate Hugo Weaving and the work that he's done. It's not the same like, oh, that's say that Keanu Reeves fought Hugo Weaving. I guess it wasn't quote unquote as quip and funny as, oh, Keanu Reeves fought that
Yeah, dude in the suit.
dude in the suit.
Dude in the suit.
But yeah, it looks like a fun game.
It does. It does look really fun. And then the obviously the you know what's funny is it caught me off the Rocksteady trailer caught me off guard. And it was because I literally forgot that they were making that Suicide Squad game. So
Yeah.
when it came up with Warner Brothers Studios, and then you heard the Batman bats in the background, and then Rocksteady, and I was like, "Oh shit! Rocksteady's making another Arkham game. Yes, that's awesome." And then, and as it started to play out, then I realized I was like, "Oh wait, that's right. They're working on that Suicide Squad game, which also looks really good." And you know, this trailer was obviously made as more of
Memorial.
a tribute, tribute to Kevin Conroy, which I thought was awesome. And it was awesome that they said that he's going to still be the voice of Batman in that game. So obviously he's done recordings for that game, but I still can't get excited for the game yet because we haven't actually seen the game.
Yeah, I don't know whether there was some footage way back or I'm mixing it up with another game. I remember like they fighting on a stage or something or a city. I may be mixing it up with another
Yeah,
game.
I'm 95% sure that the first trailer was just a CGI trailer. They didn't show anything from the actual game.
Yeah, okay.
You know, more like, you know, this is what shooting for. But that being said, Rocksteady is a great developer, so I'm sure it's going to be a fine game.
Is there any other game that you're looking forward from what they announced?
Not specifically from what they announced.
I
Oh well,
Street Fighter 6, you're already new.
I was gonna say we did get a release date on Street Fighter 6, which was awesome. I was happy we got a release date. I was hoping it was gonna be earlier in the year, not middle of the year, but I guess I can't be too picky. We got new characters. Excited for DJ. I always really liked DJ.
Everyone was
Where's
talking. Everyone was
Where's
talking.
Dudley?
Everyone was talking about that Mano, the gal from France. It was, or,
The really ripped girl.
no, that was Marisa.
Marisa. Okay.
Yeah, the other one that looked like Lady Gaga.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
I didn't.
Dudley, I guess, is serving drinks on
Yeah. So
on some bar.
Where's my boy Dudley? You know, gutter trash.
He wasn't.
That's what I want.
He wasn't on the leaked characters. I don't remember. I will
I
have
don't
to. I will have to
think
go.
he
On,
was.
yeah, I go.
But
I,
I'm not
I will
sure.
have to go on. I guess it's one of those legacy characters that stayed as that legacy and hasn't been brought back.
I guess, yeah. You know, I was really like Dudley, but I'm excited for DJ and the newer characters. They look pretty cool. Again, Street Fighter 6 does look phenomenal. I don't want to say I'm worried, but I don't know if it's good or bad. But the whole what is it called, Battle Hub? I think it looks pretty awesome. It looks pretty fun, but part of me is worried that they're spending too much time on that and not focusing on the actual game. But
I think as far as the beta and what we've seen so far, the game is pretty solid. If you ask me,
yeah,
like, we are.
that's what I'm hoping.
I guess I spent quite some time. I've seen people playing, and as far as the mechanics that they're introducing, the characters, how they look, how they behave. Obviously, I cannot talk about the controls. I can only take the feedback from the people that are making the reviews when the alpha was open or the beta, whatever. The gameplay looks pretty sick. They adding the other feature to solo play. I think they're making strides, so even if you don't enjoy the multiplayer aspect of it, you can still enjoy the single player and maybe captivate more people to get into it. So I'm not worried about it. In contrary, I think that it's a good decision that they're making given what they did on Street Fighter 5.
No, I agree. It's just, you know, they part of me is just like, man, I want to see more of the game. They kept showing like the, you know, customization of the characters and the characters fighting, you know, your custom characters fighting, which doesn't necessarily appeal to me too much, but that could change when I actually get my hands on it.
Did you notice that he was using like move from 3 or 4 different characters at the same time.
Yeah, because he was doing a Sonic Boom and a Dragon Punch. So
And
yeah,
the Tatsumaki, and he also did the Sonic Fist from, I forget, Luke is his name.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. So, but you know what? I mean, I'm just happy we got a release date on it because it was announced quite a long time. One last point I did want to make on all the trailers that was very nice to see. That I think there was only one that I can remember that said it was 2024. Every other trailer
Or next
said
year.
next year, because sometimes it gets a little tiring. E3 is guilty of it a lot, where they have these world premiere trailers, and it's
In
like
7 years.
in 7 years this game is going to come out, and it was almost kind of like the Suicide Squad game. I forgot about it. I forgot about that game, and it's either you forget about the game or you get so excited because it's a game that you really are looking forward to, and then it's not coming out for years, and it's like, well, crap. I want to. I don't want to wait. I want to play it now. I mean, obviously everybody wants to play it now, but still, you know what I'm saying.
I prefer. I get what you're doing. I hope that most of them are still released next year. I bet that at least 2 or 3 are gonna get delayed.
Oh, no doubt. I think so. You're probably right.
And I prefer that they get delayed if the game is not complete, especially after the Pokemons that we just recently got, or the Leo of what was the other game? Dark Tide. It had 1 or 2 bugs, not as horrendous as Pokemon, as far as the people clipping through the stages, or
right,
textures not existing or whatever. Like, it definitely needed some time in the oven, even though the game experience is fantastic for everyone that loves Pokemon. But I hope that they really don't think of just pumping out games for the sake of pumping out games. Like, really push something out there that you will be proud of, kind of a deal.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and you hope that they didn't just slap the 2023 on there, basically like as a wishful thinking kind of thing, and that most of these have been in the works for quite a long time, and that they will be released next year. But it does get tiring sometimes to see a game announced and then it's 3-4 years off, and it's kind of like, well, why did you announce it so early? I'd like to. At least if you're going to announce something, at least have it in the foreseeable future. But I agree with you 100% that I'd rather wait for a game that gets delayed because they want to put some final finishing touches on it to make it that much better versus putting out a game that's quote unquote broken or has problems that makes it difficult to play, and then having to wait for patches or where it kind of dilutes the experience.
So in general, aside from the guy that ruined the best game of the year, I saw that guy going to stage. I was like, that guy doesn't feel like he belongs. Like, I was even thinking, like, is the child of someone? But then looking at everyone there, it's like, he doesn't seem to be someone's child.
Yeah, it was weird because he was like, oh, it's my turn now. When he said that, I was like, oh, is there another guy that worked on the game that wants to talk about? I thought he worked for, the From Software. And all of a sudden, and then he said something I didn't understand. I mentioned Bill Clinton, and then I just started laughing because I'm like, what the hell is this clown doing up on the stage?
I was so confused. Like, after that speech, I mean, like, we spoke in the pre podcast, I guess. Oh, I guess he was quote unquote polite enough to let Miyazaki give his speech. Because he could have gotten worse, like he doing some harm, like attacking someone or interrupting the speech. I guess he waited for his moment, but still, it's like what he said. It's not after you told me what he actually meant by what he said. It's obviously not fun.
No, definitely not. And I didn't realize it either because I didn't really understand what he said, and it wasn't until today when I was looking at some message boards that I like to read.
He tried to get it out there as far as possible, because at some point you can see when they're panning out the guards are coming to escort him on the side of the stage.
Right.
But man, and Geoff Keighley was like, yeah, well.
Yeah, it's still troubling from a security standpoint that he was able to get up on a stage regardless. Obviously there was, nothing, bad happened, but just the case that he was obviously able to get up there, and he was up there for a reasonable amount of time because he was able to casually just walk up to the microphone without anything happen. And
he was making sure to move so he was on camera. Because when you look at him, he was looking like to the side to see that they're getting that picture, and he was moving around. And usually when you're receiving the award, you just stay in place, you know.
Right, exactly.
He definitely had. I had the weird vibes out of him, but I wanted to put it past like, maybe that's just me. But then he goes and does that, and I'm like, yeah, he was up. He didn't belong there.
No, he didn't belong there. It's a shame, and you hope for better security because if he did have some intentions that were beyond just spewing his bullshit, then that could have ended up being a bad situation.
I guess for the people that don't know, what he meant by what he said, I guess we gotta allude to it to some extent.
Yeah, he said something to the effect of. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It looks like he said something to the effect of Bill Clinton is an what's that?
Reform
Orthodox rabbi.
Rabbi, yeah.
Yeah, and from my understanding and reading, it's a anti-Semitic conspiracy that the world leaders are secretly Jewish and controlling the world. So that was so it was an anti-Semitic statement, which obviously in today's day and age, it's become something that I don't know why it's become. We've had athletes and other people making anti-Semitic comments. It seems to be on a regular basis. I'm not sure why all of a sudden this has become such a thing, but it's disgusting. It doesn't need to be said, and hopefully he gets some sort of penalty for what he did.
Well, he got arrested, but
yeah,
how much he's gonna be punished for that?
I don't know. I mean, you can't it's just gonna be it's gonna be a punishment as far as it would be for somebody that's same thing somebody running on the field in a sporting event
or a game.
Yeah. Obviously what he said wasn't right, but he's not going to get penalized or not going to get punished for that. I guess it could have been a lot worse because if he was up there with a weapon or something of that nature, then thankfully that didn't happen. Thankfully that it was after. It was pretty much after the show was over, and the director for Elden Ring got his speech, like you said, it was not interrupted, it was completed. So at least you got to say that. But let's step up the security here, people. Let's make sure this stuff doesn't happen.
Yeah. All in all, I did enjoy even though it was 3 hours. I guess there was a lot that they needed to go over.
Oh man, it was longer than I thought it was going to be.
And I guess those extra 5 minutes or 6 that Christopher Judge added to the timer.
I guess so. I bet you Geoff was like, "Oh crap, man! I hope he wraps this up soon."
Wrap it up. No, but it needed to be said what he said. So
it was great.
I enjoyed the awards overall. So I hope that not only we get more fantastic games next year, that the next awards are as good as this one, and hopefully we get more security. And hey, tell us what you think. Either we got Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit as well. If you want to leave a comment, tell us what you feel. Like, what do you think of the awards? What do you think of the nomination and the winners?
Yeah, do you agree with the winners? Do you disagree with the winners? Do you agree with my hot takes or disagree with my hot takes? Because I got a lot of them.
Mr. Hot Take. Well, do you have anything else for us, Kevin?
I don't think so. I'll reiterate what you said. I enjoyed the Game Awards quite a bit, and I hope we get to see more of the same. It's been a while since we've had like a legitimate E3, so this kind of felt more like a E3 event, which I always enjoy. So I had quite a good time watching.
Well, as always, it has been Alan, your host, and Kevin, my friend here.
Take care, everybody. Enjoy.
Take care.